didn't I mention? New players. That's right. New players in the top 100. Welcome back, folks, to the one-on-one series here on Altai. And we have got, in the blue, it's going to be Bad Koala, playing as the Mongols. Those that do not know who Bad Koala is, Bad Koala, he's actually a pro Age of Empires 2 player. He is from China. He's made a few $100 playing in Age of Empires 2. I think he's a more recent addition. He's not that old, so I think he started getting active like this year, and that's it. So he's a player on the rise, and he's on the rise on the leaderboards. I think he's just outside the top 100, about 125th with his ELO rank. I think it's around maybe 1650-ish. Meanwhile, his opponent Running is also an aspiring pro. I believe he has also been active for a short amount of time, only recently. 2018 is when he started to get active, and that was in Age of Empires 2. He was actually known for his skills in the arena matches, but now switching over to AoE 4. Sorry, mate, you have to come play the 1v1s. We don't have any custom games. We don't have anything special. We just got this goodies for you. And this one should be fun because Running is a new addition to the top 100. He actually breached through very recently, now at 85th on the leaderboard, 1,698 ELO with 191 games played. So quickly rising, quickly showing some talent here, and he will be playing that blue and blue, right France against the Mongols, and I'm interested to see what the opener is going to be. If it's going to deviate from what I've seen out of the top 50, because right now we are seeing a Rax opener for Bad Koala. And this is kind of peculiar. And this is a result of the scouts. He has to react. Because Running, he built a second scout, as you just do. That's basically the meta. And then he ran it all the way across to the base to burn down the Uvu. And you can't let this fall. That's why he has to go for the Rax to get the Spearman. If you let this fall, your opponent is going to burn a lot of your early economy. Because remember, look, the Uvu, 150 wood isn't cheap. But this doesn't feel good. Right, yes, you're against France. Yeah, you can say spears can still feel good because your opponent now can't do knights as easily. But you wanted to have that flexibility, right? You wanted to dictate what you were going to do. Wow, the scouts. The scout moves. Running. I mean, it's in his name. It's in his gameplay. Not able to keep it up, though. Will end up getting the racks down. Bad Koala able to finally place it. And he'll need to apply pressure. This doesn't feel good. If you're forced to go for the spearman, you need to get a small group, and you need to look for an outpost play. I think Bad Koala has not played badly, but he's been forced into a bad situation, right? Koala not happy in his current tree because now he has to get that early pressure out. He's going to have to look to move a villager up and plop down some outposts. I think failing to do so is now failing to play your opening. And there you go. 2 villagers on the way out. He needs to go for an outpost crawl. Running. Look at this. Spearman of his own. Something we never see the French do, ever. And I mean ever. I do not remember the last time I saw a French player drop a Rax in the Dark Age. Okay? They're too sophisticated for that. They don't believe in the Dark Age. They want to be the Ponzi feudals. They want to be in the castle. They want to be talking their fancy, elegant French. They don't want to be stuck in Dark Age where they just club rocks against each other's heads. But that's what this is going to turn into. And that's a good thing as well. Otherwise, the pressure could have been very difficult to deal with for Running here. This also isn't too bad considering he has nearby deer and he's moved a mill out here. Usually this would feel rough because you want to get school cavalry, you want to get pro scouts, you want to drag all the carcasses back. Now you're in a situation where you're mirroring your opponent. Bad Koala is less likely to necessarily go back and get pro scouts in a rush because he had to go for this early Rax. And when he goes up into Tech 2, now seeing spears, he's likely to go for archers himself. So I don't expect pro scouts to come into play in this match, which is an interesting thing to say because on one side we've got Mongols and the other side we've got France. These are 2 cavalry-based civs. And neither of them are likely to use pro scouts in this game. And I mean, I'm relieved. It feels so good to say that for a change. How often do we get to say that? Pro scouts is definitely the most oppressive and definitive element of the game right now. And for once we've liberated ourselves. Now, here's the problem. You send in 2 villagers. You're a little bit slow on the build-up. You will get your outpost built before the French one, but with double the workers, it's going to be close and a tight timing. And now the spear's moving out. They'll trade their lives for the Villi count. It's worth it. They will turn around and engage after they force them away from the outpost. And the number of advantages we're running, right? It's home field here. He can reinforce quicker. And even if you bring out 2 at a time, with spears outnumbering you, you can't do anything. You just have to back away. So Bad Koala up to 5. 6 for Running. And while you have the maneuver arrow, you don't have the numbers anymore. And if you run away and you leave your villagers behind when you maneuver you could end up losing 2 of your eco count. This is, by the way, this is lost economy right now. And this is what I was saying about how good this is from running. He reacts perfectly. Everything so far from running is really impressive, and I can see why he's already in the top 100 after less than 200 games. He forced his opponent into a very awkward situation. He went for the racks because of what running was doing. Then, preemptively reacting to this, right, that transitional play, like we talked about, if you react in the moment, you're weak. But if you prepare for it and you anticipate it, you're strong. And that's what he is here. With these spears already out, there is no move for Koala. And Koala right now has 2 villagers standing here that are doing nothing. They're wasted, right? You invested in the spear army, your opponent done an equal number. On top of that, your villagers, every moment they run away and run around, they're not working, they're not gathering for you. And you're up against France, a civ that has a more efficient scaling on their villager count, right? Courtesy of it only taking 18 seconds in the Dark Age and then, you know, losing 1 second required as the ages go up. So feudal will be 17, castle 16, right? It just means that you're going to be able to outmass your opponent on the eco front. I mean, you already see the lead, right? Running is up 3 over his opponent. Spears trying to prevent this outpost from going down. He doesn't want to give the numbers over, so it looks like this outpost will be successful. And Koala could use this as a cruel point, but it's going to be a very slow cruel point. You could easily get exposed. And keep in mind, it's not hard to build enough spearmen with this number already in the field to just burn down an outpost that only has 1,000 health. So if you go up to like 15 spearmen, you'll kill this outpost in the blink of an eye. But right now, running, he needs to go up. You can see he's suffering right now. He hasn't been on the gold at all. This gold vein, it wasn't easy to reach because of the angle Koala approached from, and that's why he's now putting down the palisade walling to try and slow down any aggression. And meanwhile, on the other side, Koala now looking to get in the lead is going to be first up to the feudal age, and this is a big deal because it means that unless running follows him within the next half a minute, you're going to be up against archers with just spearmen. And that story does not end well. So Vili just trying to complete the walling. He knows that his opponent can still reach, but the point is that now Koala has awkward choices. He can't just circle, right? If he wants to go from one side of the base to the other, he has to make a full shift around the cliffs. And now this is greedy from running. I don't think this is going to be quick enough. No maneuver arrow right now, but still several palisade pieces that need to be put down. And I think Koala is going to stab him out. Yeah, there's no way it's completed. Running, he's going to lose the villager. He might lose the second as well. No way. Oh, he'll get the second out just in time. But now he can't access the gold, and this is getting very bad. He did at least get enough in the end to get the school cavalry, but this feels uncomfortable. You don't really have options now. Your opponent is already outscaling you. He made it up to feudal first. You're definitely going to have to go for archers, but you're going to be behind your opponent. And your opponent's going to double up production, remember, because of the Uvu. And there it is. Archery range gets dropped quickly. And running, for me right now, I'm thinking, like, what was your option? I don't think you have an option. This game so far has been a back and forth dictation of what I'm going to make you do next, right? So open up with running saying, I'm going to make you drop spears. And then Koala is like, okay, I'm dropping spears. Running's already responded. Then Koala gets the outpost in place, techs up first and says, I'm going to force you to now go into archers. And there's no real option for Koala. For running, rather. The one cool thing is the school cavalry gives him the flexibility of a stable as well, but he's definitely, without a doubt, going to need to put down an archery range. So his movement in this opening phase of the game is now predictable for Koala. The question is whether running can now return the favor and force that predictability back again. If he can find a little bit of surplus gold, he could actually very easily get his hands on 1 or 2 knights and then raid round the back. And by the way, this is why he was able to afford in the end. Look what running done. I was looking for it. I was like, hold on, where is it at? He actually snuck all the way back here, and he's going to look to TC boom as well. Okay, this is cool. Under this pressure, he's looking to outscale, right? His eco is already stronger than Koala's, and Koala's will become better if he allows him to reach Castle Age for free. So running wants to scale his economy up to a villager count that even if his opponent goes up into the 3rd age, he doesn't care as much because his economy is still going to match it. Maybe not on the gold front, but definitely everywhere else is going to exceed it. How many spearmen? Too many. Running needs to be careful. He's actually outnumbered. Remember, he needed that initial influx to build the infrastructure. Double archery range now being dropped, and the blacksmith as well. And this should be frustrating for Koala. Like, Koala, in his eyes, he played this right. He shut him out. He prevented him from getting on either on these gold veins. Right now, he's like, running can't have gold, right? So he can only build archers. And this could trip you up. Because what could easily end up happening in this game is after you get a clump of archers and you defend yourself, running could sneak out a group of knights and raid your back lines. Your back lines, which look how exposed it is. Koala, because there's no pressure on his side of the map, he's playing a very loose economy with his food lines up here on the deer. So watch for that in the coming minutes, because that could bite Koala in the ass. I've never tried biting a koala in the ass. Never really tried biting any animal in the ass, personally. It's not really a fetish I engage with, but I'd imagine a koala of most creatures would attack you. And that's what I'm looking for, is what will Koala's response be if he does get flanked? Because it does have to be said that running has that flow control, right? He can actually look to move past on these flank sides, he can build a gate in the south, but right now he needs to deal with the pressure that's coming. Because the Koala, he's taking a swipe. He's building the battering ram. Keep in mind home field advantage, though. Archer count will be there for running. And that's why he only built so many spearmen, right? He's kind of content with his number. But there's the outpost crew. Second outpost now going to be placed by Koala, trying to get closer. Needs to be careful, though. Kind of jump with the gun a bit. Taking some damage for it. Tries to move away. Has to split from the battering ram, so loses a few troops. As a result of that, the TC, Garrison, and the outpost. He's losing a lot of troops right now. No rush to get rid of the battering ram just yet. A little bit too deep for Koala. Koala needs to be careful. He can't actually... Look, he can't reach this. He'll back it up now. That's awkward, though. Down to half HP already. They're trying to raise the archery range, but the damage might be done to Koala's army in the meantime. Engages on the spearman. Battering ram's already gone, though, and most of his damage, he has to retreat away. Maneuver arrow will get him out, but that was not the way to engage Koala. Big mistakes made there on several fronts. He moves too close to the TC instead of wrapping even wider. He never gets the outpost down. And then also, he blocks his own troops from engaging the melee line of running by putting the battering ram in his choke point between the outpost and the archery range. Small details like that lead to big losses, and that's why he was repelled so easily. Now that spear army, almost matched in numbers. 12 now compared to the 7 as you start to replenish it, but the archer count is there at the moment for running. Running does have to be careful due to this outpost, though. And the other thing to consider right now is these new troops that come in, if you immediately fight, yam speed. It's a big deal. But a bigger deal is this. Koala, he invested too heavily. Look at this. He switched so many people into wood because he needed the surplus. He kept pushing out units, and now with a second archery range in the blacksmith, he's hanging around. Meanwhile, running has no intentions to do the same. He's dropping the guild hall already. He's going to have that technological superiority over the Mongols. And all because of this gold vein at the back. This is such a heads-up play. I've got to highlight again. A lot of players would have just butted heads over the gold vein right next to the base. They would have forgotten about this. They wouldn't have went that far out. But he's willing to drag his villager line out, lose that initial efficiency to guarantee and lock in safe and secure economy, right? He never has to contest this. He never has to worry about losing these villagers on the back for the stone and for the gold. And it means he has options, multiple options, in fact. Not only can he go for the tech up, if he wants at this rate, he could have easily saved and looked to go straight in to a second TC. But instead, looks like he's going to hold on to the resources. He's going to upgrade the outpost on the front. You can see actually getting that extra health to protect the military district. But he can easily save enough to go for a secondary TC. I think the only reason he isn't right now is he is pinned in a corner, right? He's got the advantage now, but he needs to push out. He needs to gain ground before he can think about a secondary TC. Meanwhile, Koala, he's thinking about the all-in. He's going for more of these rams. As we know, to build a ram in the field, you need to have over this number of people. You need to have easily 20 people working on it so that the rest do the dance that, you know, summons the great ramming spirit into the wood. That's how it works. Otherwise, it's just a lump of wood, guys. Come on. Makes sense when you think about it. There's no one in that battering ram. That's why it only costs wood. So you have to inhabit a spirit inside it for it to work. Hopefully someone's taking notes on this. It's very important. So man-at-arms now. And this is a big problem for Koala. Koala could lose the army very quickly here. And that move to fortify the outpost was a big deal. You're already seeing it. Attack speed arrow. Trying to shoot them down. 1-2 man-at-arms here. Archer army going to hold their ground. They can't fall back further. There are villages close by, but archer count for the moment is with Koala, and there's no upgrade. He hasn't teched up. These archers aren't in their better form. They're not vets. The man-at-arms are pushing out now, and that's the difference maker. And this is where it gets problematic. Koala, remember, he doesn't have that movement superiority. Yes, he's a little bit faster man-at-arms, but he no longer has a yam. Everything is on fire here. The battering ram will be able to burn down one of these. Outpost is going to survive, though. Ram should fall. And he needs to run for the high hills. So loses the main battalion again, down to 15 of these archers, is replacing in the meantime. But that means he's not scaling, right? He's almost at a point where he can go for castle, but at this point he's so far behind. Man-at-Arms staying on top of their opponents here. Archers just wiping out these spearmen so quickly. And these archers aren't backing away quick enough. He's going to move them now. That Yam speed juicing them up so they can retreat quicker. Big deal now. This is where you need to back away. The problem is running's kind of in deep. He's got barely any archers left, and his man-at-arms don't move fast. So they're kind of committed. So you might just waste them to push the army further and further away. He needs to get through this outpost, though. This outpost is making the difference. Once again, Mongols, if you want to be on top, this is the de facto element to your gameplay. Use the outpost. Use the Yam speed, because the mobility of the Mongols is what makes them most lethal. And there we go. That's why the ram is being built. And he needs the space. He needs to switch over. He's drained everything dry. The berry bushes are almost gone. It's time to get into the farmlands if you want to survive the coming minutes as France. More archers moving out. Man-at-Arms as well. Koala, has he begun the tech up? Yes, he's halfway there. It's going to be the step readout. This will give him the edge to start building into those lances if he chooses, or even going for the Man-at-Arms himself. But he has lost the foothold now. This outpost is definitely going to fall. And this is important, because this means that running can start to pen himself in, right? He can wait a little bit longer. I don't think you want to, though. Walling in could be a mistake here. You need to start applying pressure to your opponent's side of the map now that he's teched up in the castle as well. Running doing a lot of that right now as he chases his opponent way back to his base. Man-at-Arms, as we said, are slow to move out. And look at this, running. 14 villagers out here. This is very risky if it gets spotted. But for the moment, Koala, he's got his Khan over to the north, right? It's less likely that he spots this out. And if you keep pushing pressure towards his base, it should give you that breathing room to quickly gather with this many villagers through these deer carcasses. And I do expect a secondary TC soon. Running has huge surpluses of stone at this point. It could just be a plane to keep, right? So you get that efficiency play of cheaper units, of cheaper stable units and archery units. Archers in the end are going to be picked apart. Still never bothered to vet them up. It was really surprising to me that he didn't choose to do that. And it looks like now there's going to be a switch over. Now that Man-at-Arms are coming out, Koala is going to switch over into the crossbows. And I do expect to see a similar shift coming out of running. He has to anticipate this move is going to occur, right? He's revealed Man-at-Arms, and Man-at-Arms alone against the Yam were feeling wonky. But now that your opponent has access to castle, you can't rely on them heavily. I mean, I say you can't rely on them heavily, but he's doing it. And that has me a little bit concerned for what's going to happen next. Although he is building that siege workshop, remember that the good old Mongols have that cheesy element to their gameplay of being able to build out in the field. So they don't need to build the workshop. They just can move the blacksmith across and get the siege engineering improved if need be. And I think that should be the next goal for Koala. Save up the stone. Get access to the Mangonels and the Springalds, and just beat your opponent to the punchline. And there's the keep. And this keep is a nice one. It's right next to the stone outcropping. Not only is he guarding the central entrance to his base, but he's going to refund the cost of it, right? With this stone outcropping now easily defended by the keep. And look at this. Stone walls in the west. Okay, this is cool. Running, we see pocket economies all the time from France, but we never see them defended, and it always leads to a backlash, right? A point where you get punished. But instead, that punishment hasn't come. This one is safe. Meanwhile, over here, this villager count, they've almost drained it all dry. And although it would still be a catastrophe to lose them, right? It wouldn't be the end of the world as long as they gather up the carcasses in the meantime. And also, this scout is here on purpose. He wants to be able to see it if it is going to wrap around. And look at this move in. Koala's about to get the bad news. This is no longer easy country. You can't just walk in. And he also reveals the crossbowman, so this should be the switch up. I expect running to now look towards possibly horsemen here. That was just an armed composition, right? A ranged composition, rather. It's just archers and crossbowmen, so there's barely any melee in the mix right now for Koala. And that does leave him incredibly weak against horsemen. Oh, but the Khan. The Khan. Does he see? Yeah, he sees now. But running, he's backing away. He's kind of done the damage, right? Most of this has been picked dry. One deer left alive to try and rebreed the area, but he got through at least half of this, so definitely good value achieved by the French player. Now stables are being dropped. Remember, next to the keep, they get their influence factor, they get that discount. Mucho grande cheaper. as we'd like to say. More Scout just eyeball what's happening here. As the Koala is now starting to split his economy. And this is dangerous. If you continue to do this as Koala and you're spotted like this, it could backfire. He's moving very aggressively right now. What is his intent? I don't know, but whatever it is, this could end badly. Your opponent's starting to switch into Knights. So if you ever get scouted moving out like this, you're going to get ran down. And you can't afford that hit to your economy. Look at the numbers right now. Koala's already 8 behind, courtesy of France producing villages quicker. And that will increase further. And he's out under the ball. And yeah, this was my concern. So he pushes his opponent away for the moment. But now if you lose one fight, you don't only lose the mid-ground, you're going to lose a huge chunk of your economy as well. And I would really love to see an Outpost go down. If you want to do this, bring an Outpost. You have to. Please drop an Outpost. Please. Oh. Whoopsie daisy. Koala's village just running away. So with the rest on the deer, without an Outpost here, remember that running away is going to be difficult at 1.12 movement speed per second. And now it's trip stables. And I don't think Koala's checked in on what running is doing recently, so he has no clue this is happening. He has brought out the Treb. How many Knights are we up to, though? 5 Knights, 20 man-at-arms. There's a decent amount of crossbowmen here. I don't think running's ready for this yet. But he has got the Springald. And that's something that Koala does not have at all. So Springald gets revealed. That'll force the Treb away. And now you have to wait longer. And this is important. Running, it's just a threat of what might come if you push in. And it buys you time. It's going to get you another round of Knights and possibly another round of something else. More Knights. There we go. Why not, guys? You see your opponent has crossbows, but don't worry. You have horses and stabby sticks. But still no horsemen. And I don't like that. I think you could actually afford to stop off for a few horsemen here, and it would boost you pretty potently, actually. It's more affordable as well. I know he's on these gold veins now, but look at his food surplus. Running should be taking this opportunity to push out more units. Get some cannon fodder. Get some wraparound units. Have a split force. Understand that your Knights can hold back the Lancers at the front, but if you're held back by the Lancers on the front, the crossbowmen are going to just make short work of you. And now the Red Palace. This boom up from running. This could give the edge. The keep isn't dying fast. We're seeing how the silence feels fitting. We're seeing how underwhelming Trebs are, aren't we? Wow. The damage was repaired basically by one villager. Wow. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, these things are insanely underwhelming. This Springald, by the way. Ooh. Oh no, I'm gonna get it, can't. Koala forces him away. If he sneaks back in, like, yeah, he's going to just repair this. That's the difference, right? Your villagers aren't here to repair. More trebuchets as well. So just cost efficient from running right now. And now he's teched up. And this is the bad news for Koala. Koala, he has to go soon. Look at his net worth. Look at his income. He's not ready for a tech up right now. He's vastly behind that of the French player in this matchup. And it's about to get much worse when all these tech upgrades come into play. So villagers repairing the keep. All he needs to buy is like half a minute to get those tech ups, right? He should be researching into the Elite Knights right now. No, not yet. There we go. So 38 seconds, and then I think it's his go time. I think running then has enough. He's up to 19 Knights already. And the numbers have slowed down for Koala. This is uncomfortable. More crossbowmen coming out. But you need more Lancers. You need more of a front line. Spearmen even, something to hold back. The problem is he hasn't peered in. He hasn't seen this. He's going to be so surprised by this. This keep drop from running was so good because it prevents any vision gain for Koala, and thus he's playing blind into what running is about to produce. Springald. It's going to be sniped out. So a little bit of whoopsie-daisy. Running going to lose that siege unit. And I think this might be a bait for Koala. Even if he gets through the keep and he rushes in, he's not going to like what he finds because the upgrade's complete. Elite Royal Knights. I don't think the man-at-arms are getting juiced up. He doesn't really care. They're just cannon fodder in the mixer. And here he comes. The fight really to decide it here. Charge in for the Lancers. Knights do engage. They wrap around all the siege weapons as well, and they can reach the crossbow. And then no, the man-at-arms are in. The Trebs are going to fall quickly, and your crossbowmen are already exposed. You don't have a network of outposts either, so you do not have the mobility to move away. You move at 1.12 tiles per second. The Khan's already down. The front line is gone, everything is gone, and this is the power of the French. You give them an inch and they'll take a mile, and they will take you to the bank here and bleed you dry as Koala, in the blink of an eye, loses the entire army and running. That just might be it. I don't see how you get back in this. He's going to call the GG. The Knights reign supreme as France are back on the menu.